All right, we are live. It reminds me when we started, when the pandemic first hit, and we started this True North Insight channel, and what a learning curve. We were doing them live on YouTube. Uh, so that just reminded me of this. So, uh, these are posted after our live Zoom calls, but for those of you practicing with us on the YouTube channel, I hope you still feel like you're included in our awareness because you are. And I'm glad it's not live in that way because if I really screw up, I just don't have to post it, and just this small sangha here can be subjected to that. Yeah, those were some interesting times. Gosh, that brings back memories. All right. Thank you for being here. Um, these last couple weeks, I've been practicing with what's called neutral beings. This is, and just mostly in my daily life practice, not so much in my formal meditation practice, but just a deep intention and pretty regular remembering mindfulness to pay attention to people that are kind of neutral, meaning they're neither strongly liked or favored or uh, friendly beings to me, or unfriendly, not the ones that there's a strong aversion. So basically, that means like most people in the world. It's like most of the people that we experience in our lives are neutral. We don't even notice them a lot of times, don't pay attention. It's a lot, boundless numbers of unseen beings that we don't even have any direct or indirect contact with, but like the people that made this and this and this and grew the food and built the house and all boundless that are completely unseen, uh, but also the just people in daily life that are driving by or that you see when you're in a store or walking down the street. And also, like last week, it was also like the chimpanzees and seeing their eyes on Jane Goodall's videos and um, dogs in the dog park. And so not just human beings, but other beings. And really just the practice of seeing them, just let them be seen, like in my awareness to know, to see that being. And there was this deep sense of like, everyone thinks they're the center of the world. Like each car that passes by, those beings are having like a massive, huge life full of grief and sorrow and joys and fears and doubts and everything, every single person. uh, it frees up a lot of self preoccupation and centering of the self, but also really cultivates a lot of care. And also, I noticed loved ones or friendly beings, like dear ones that you kind of see often or get used to. There can be, I noticed, anyways, meh, not, yeah, that, meh, like not really seeing them, not paying attention, not like, because you kind of get used to people, right? And so practicing with neutral in that way helped me to see and appreciate even dear ones in a different way. It also affects how we see unfriendly or difficult people. Uh, And then this naturally flows into a compassion practice, karuna meditations, and com awakens compassion when you realize everybody's struggling at times greatly or to some degree, or has or will. Everyone's aging, everyone's experiencing death, illness, loss, not being able to keep what they like and who they want, and control everything. So it cultivates a real sense of our shared dukkha. Dukkha. Don't just throw out Pali words. Our shared stress and grief and sorrows in brief. Uh, and then I came across this beautiful practice in Joanna Macy's book. This book is called Coming Back to Life, Practices to Reconnect Our Lives, Our World. And Joanna Macy and Molly Young Brown, forward by Matthew Fox. And I've put a link down below in the YouTube channel and here in the Zoom chat to Joanna's website and the work that reconnects and her publishings. So please check that out as her legacy continues. In in this book, she's got some practices, meditations for coming back to life. She calls them in chapter 12. And one of these is what she's calling, and others have called, the Great Ball of Merit. And it's really sweet. And so it flows from this awareness of boundless individuals and the fullness of each life that includes 10,000 joys and 10,000 sorrows. And mm, but this cultivates a real appreciation of joy, mudita, this is called. It's one of the heart abode practices of cultivating, growing our capacity to feel and celebrate the good merits from other beings. Ourselves are included in that, but it's a helpful antidote to envy or jealousy or a comparing mind or feelings of less worthlessness, um, or inferiority. There's the word I wanted. Uh, so when we have these kind of thoughts, this practice can help us to deconstruct that comparing mind and that sense of being a separate self or being less than others, and helps us to really just accept and appreciate this whole ball of merit of good intentions, wise and skillful actions, which helps us with the overwhelm that we may feel. In Joanna's words, she says, this is very important for a sense of adequacy and resilience because we face a time of great challenge that demands of us more commitment, endurance, and courage than we can dredge up out of our individual supply. Mwah! So good, right? We can feel tapped out as individuals and overwhelmed by the need and the grief in the world. And this ball of merit helps us really feel this sense of abundance of um, even ancestral merit uh, that energizes us and connects us to continue this good work of growing forward. Hmm. And I'll just note that this practice is an adaptation of a Mahayana Buddhist practice, which is slightly newer than the Theravadan practice, um, as it moved to different countries through Asia. And so it's not one that I've personally done before I came across this, but well, I have done some versions of this. But it's beautiful and helpful, and I'm excited to practice it with you tonight, this great ball of merit. And mm, I invite you to also, if you feel comfortable with it, in your own space there, I'm going to be also using the hand gestures to feel this embodied experience of this. There's kind of some movement with the hands of making this pile of merit and then forming it into the great ball, making a ball. So if you want, you could experiment with using your hands to actually form this ball and get it rolling. Um, yeah, I'm remembering Don Mauricio guiding something like this, and we all gathered together in this circle and formed this great big ball and then threw it up. And it was really exhilarating and joyful, but also touching to feel that sense of interconnection and energy and hope. Let me see if there's any other context with this. Yes. So this we'll practice it this way tonight, but it also can be like I was doing with neutral beings, can be a daily life practice. When you're sitting on the bus, I don't know who takes buses, but out here, not so much. We don't have them. But uh, you know, wherever you are, at work, in the community, in a shop, volunteering in your neighborhood, when just in the silence of your own heart mind is seeing other people, like practicing with the neutral, seeing them, allowing them to be seen in your awareness, and then reflecting on what good deeds they may have done in their life that you're not aware of, or um, what wise intentions they have, what connections they've fostered, what goodwill is in their hearts, uh, what acts of generosity or beauty they've brought to the world. And just know that every individual, even the ones you might despise or think are purely evil, also have had times of care and generosity in some form or other somewhere. And so you can do this practice in daily life and let yourself just feel like, oh yeah, look at these people. Everyone here in this grocery store has merit and has acted and generated this sense of this quality of good merit or mm, there isn't another word for that. So uh, merit by its nature is good. So I'll just say merit. Um, and it's quite heartening, I think you'll find. Uh, Releases us from the mental cramp of envy, she says. Uh, when she's talking about this as a daily life practice, when we're, just being with people and being open to that awareness, she says What gifts of intellect can enrich our common store? What reserves of stubborn endurance do they offer? What flights of fancy or powers of love lurk behind those eyes? Oh, so nice. Flights of fancy or powers of love lurk behind those eyes. Hmm. What kindness or courage hides in those lips? What healing in those hands? Oh, isn't that beautiful? Ah! Inhaling our awareness of them. As our awareness grows, we experience our gratitude for them and our capacity to partake of them, to partake of these merits. That's really touching. Boy, oh boy, we're so blessed to have such wisdom. Hmm. So let's practice. Great Ball of Merit. I'm so excited. All right. So finding a posture of care and support for your dear body as it is in this moment. Seeing if you need any other movement or supports or touch or comfort. Take your time before you come into stillness so that your body feels attended to and cared for, not just pushed into a form that we think is appropriate, but really feeling into it. Mm. And as the body settles from shifting and begins to feel an invitation to stillness, it's accompanied by kindness, kind attention. And then, to whatever degree is available to you this evening or whenever you're practicing with us, invite awareness to really settle in, around, and through the body. If the body doesn't feel like a safe and inviting place to be in this moment, perhaps just a sense of a field of care around the body, kind of like the chair that you're in, or as if you're in a comfortable place for you. Just the awareness is holding the body with care, however it is. And any tension that is noticed, it's just held with kind awareness, asking that tension what it needs, perhaps touch or movement or some spacious or deeper breath, or just gentle awareness, letting it be, not needing to get rid of anything or fix, but just accompanying ourselves. You might take some time to guide ourselves now in these next few moments of silence through any areas of habitual tension in your body. Could be muscles in the face or neck, shoulders, belly, hands. So let's have a few minutes of silence together and we'll just meet ourselves where we are and invite some caring space or release to some degree with and around any tension that you notice. When the attention floats away, gently bring it back to kind of a gentle scan of the body, settling, softening, caring. And as the body continues settling, attend to the sensations of contact with the earth, with the support that your body is resting on, which is in direct relationship to the ground, to the earth. And feel that interrelationship of the earth and all of its elements with the body, not separate. And from this relaxing, grounded, embodied awareness, we'll now begin to extend the awareness, not abandoning ourselves, but to include each other that are here practicing this great ball of merit meditation tonight. And the odds are that likely somewhere around this planet there are others doing this very practice, some version of this great work that reconnects from Joanna Macy. And like drops of water in a still pond and watching the ripples extending out in all directions, we can allow awareness to just be in its nature, naturally inclusive, and expand our awareness to those who live in your building or your home or close neighborhood. You don't have to think of anyone in particular or even picture them or think of their names. It's just this sense of extending, rippling awareness, widening, including your neighbors and perhaps this wider town or city that you're in or community. Awareness across borders of names of places and expanding through this province, this country, state, wherever you're living. And if you want for this, you could also invite the hands to feel this sense of expanding. As your awareness expands, the hands might move wider or open, palms might lift across borders into other lands, across mountains and oceans. Fellow beings that share this time on the planet. And the awareness of the heart, just touching into this sense of multitudes. And then awareness can open wider yet to encompass all beings who have ever lived, not as a concept or a thought, just a sense, a knowing that is deeper than thoughts. All races, all creeds and walks of life, rich and poor, near and far, far, far back in time, newly born, vast vistas of fellow beings stretching into the distance. Now include in awareness the fact that in each of these innumerable lives, some act of merit was performed, was offered. No matter how stunted or deprived the life, no matter how abundant, there was a gesture of generosity, a gift of love, an act of courage, an offer of healing, teaching, of sharing. Now imagine that you can begin to sweep together these acts of merit. If you want, you can use your hands in that gesture of sweeping them into a pile in front of you. Through ancient time, across all the boundaries, immeasurable beings, acts of care, wisdom, generosity. Pile them up with your mind's eye or using your hands if you want into a heap. And really allow yourself to feel the gladness and gratitude. And as that pile becomes this heap of merit, we can begin to pat it into a ball, gently patting into this great ball of merit. Feel the weight of it as you hold it and pat it and move your hands around it. It has a weight, it has an energy. Rejoice in it, knowing that no act of goodness is ever lost. And feel it as a resource that is offered to you and offered to others as we are also adding our own merit into this great ball of merit. It is a means for the transformation of life. And now, with jubilee and jubilation and gratitude, we begin to turn that great ball of merit. Turn it over and over. And then letting it go, letting it roll into the healing of our world. No act of goodness is ever lost. Seeing and feeling this gladness as a resource in this present moment. all of the great teachers, Gautama Buddha, Jesus, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, Jane Goodall, Joanna Macy, boundless, nameless heroes, all part of this ball of merit from which we can draw inspiration and endurance. Let's rest for a few minutes in silence. Allow yourself to feel the sensation of our interconnection, because as Joanna says, we face this time of great challenge that demands of us more commitment, more endurance, and more courage than we can dredge up out of our individual supply. This ball of merit is a present moment resource. Allow yourself to draw upon this resource and to add to it. Before we close this practice, you might take a moment to visualize and contemplate your day tomorrow or this coming week, and some people you may be interacting with, and the intention to be aware of what merit there is. It can be especially helpful when we're dealing with difficult people to take time to reflect on this. What gifts of intellect, what reserves of stubborn endurance, what flights of fancy or powers of love lurk behind those eyes, what kindness or courage hides in those lips, what healing in those hands. Gratitude to Joanna Macy and her continued legacy and work. I hope you find this a helpful resource for our continued presence in our interconnected world. Um, and I can't quite put the link there yet because it has the wrong the wrong date on it. But I'll just mention. Maybe I'll just How will I do this? There's an upcoming day-long online retreat, um, online gathering for white folks that are anti-racist practitioners grounded in meditation. And in this time of great dukkha, great suffering in the world, it's a time to come together um, to nurture our own embodied awareness and take care to cultivate this kind of energy for healing and liberation for all beings by doing our own work. And very supportive space and practices of equanimity. You can read about it on the True North Insight website. It currently has the wrong date listed, so that's why I'm not putting the link for it, but that will be fixed very soon. Um, Thank you for practicing with us, and I'll have that proper link for us next week. Um, yeah, feeling the merit vibes. Be good to you. Thanks for practicing with us.